Welcome back to another reading and correcting with me, Kindar, the Tiger Writes, and Ty, the Tiger Supervisor. These are where I read a chapter from one of my books and correct it as I go. If you want to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch and YouTube. And if you are looking to support me, that is on my Patreon. Today, we are doing chapter 35 of The Technician's Fight. Jeremy kneed the woman who had stabbed him, then punched her in the face. He berated himself as she fell. He had claws. He should have gone for the throat. She didn't get up, so he allowed himself to look around. All right, the Special Ops Beta said in Earther, covering the people seated at the station. At the controls. At the controls, now that the 5 guards were dead or subdued. Regardless of what you've been told about us, we are not monsters. You don't cause us trouble, we don't feel like compelled to claw you open. Please leave your post and go through that door. She motioned to the one close near, and someone from the other pack stood on each side of, and the operators did as instructed. It would be a room without exit, and someone would have made sure the systems there weren't working. Someone might have asked him to deal with it, since it was Earther tech, if he hadn't been fighting. But ripping out wires and boards didn't require specialized skill. Yakira, find us where the prisoners have been taken, the Beta instructed, while Skaram stepped up to Jeremy, taking out her medical pack. My mistake, he told Thur, as his Beta joined them, was that I let my anger cloud my judgment. Evaluating mistake is for training and after a hunt report. How is he? Skaram looked at checked her medical scanner. Nothing vital pierced or cut. Molecular blade, so it's good you brought her down so quickly. Moving with that in you would have opened you up. If she'd angled it correctly, the station's gravity would have pulled it down and caused the same. She sprayed a gel around the blade before pulling the knife out. Blood followed, but as soon as it came in contact with the gel, it foamed and expanded. Jeremy winced as the pressure turned painful, but happy not to be bleeding out. Combat readiness? His Beta asked. The gel would expand within the wound and seal any nicks that could be a problem, something for the pain, and so long as he ends up in medical within 28 hours, he'll be fine. I'm realizing I actually forgot to establish him being in medical. I can do it between chapters, but I outright forgot. If we're back on the Bane before that, someone said, I'm going to lodge a complaint. To whom? Someone else asked. The gods. Who else? I certainly haven't pissed off any of them to the point where they'd see to it I endured these narrow hallways for a day. Have you? A bunch of negative and a variety of colorful language. Then I'm going to demand to know what they're doing letting me suffer like that. I want to be present when you do that. I want to see what they do to you for that level of presumption. An injunction, and the pain became a background sensation. Do what you can not to stress the wounds, Karam said. Why, yes, Jeremy replied. I'm sure our Beta will tell me to stay out of every coming fight. Since I don't want your heart pissed at me, Thur said, I just might. We even think of doing that, Jeremy replied, and I'll be pissed at you. Scaram patted their Beta's shoulder. I'll share your bed if he gets over his until he gets over his anger. You're not supposed to side with him, Jimmy complained. He has rank, and we don't. Tell me that overshadows his skill in bed, she replied, and Jimmy found himself without an argument to counter with. And here I thought, the Special Ops Beta said, grinning, that you kept your pact all businesslike during hunts. Could it be that you have more of your namesake's attitude than you like to claim? My namesake doesn't define me, Thur replied, annoyed, and this was a stress relief while in a secure location. She patted his cheek. You should let him. You should let him, then. According to the stories, the Father God knows how to have fun. Jeremy snorted. Thur knows how to have fun. You can trust us on that. Before you ask him for a demonstration, unter Yerika Yahederimi Osh Teriptar said, I might have something. A wireframe representation of the station appeared in the center of the command center. Whoa. In the middle. In the middle of the command center. Dot littered it, most in groups at intersection, surrounding where their last battle had been before they. Lit dot. Okay. You know what? I don't need the lit. Dots. Dots littered it, most in groups at intersections where their last battle had been before they'd taken the less direct route. The less direct but more discreet route here. Jimmy's attention was drawn to one section of the station by the complete absence of light. Even the wireframe was dark. What's that? Urbeta asked, motioning to the dark area. That's the something in question. The hunter answered, I can't tell you what it is. There is nothing in the system on it. What I can tell you is based on what's around. If it's the same layout as the level above and below, that covers 6 large rooms. Around it are 3 medical center, 2 greenhouses, a small meat growing production, and 3 research center. Haven't dug deep enough for information on what they research. Eyes turned to Jeremy. I don't know, but with them being close to medical, it's got to be biologically related. Related to biology. I also don't know how about growing meats and vegetables there. Might be a market in them. Maybe not all earthers are like printed meat. Growing tastes no better, someone said. It gets its flavor from the hunt. The white dots are all station personnel. The hunter continued in a tone of, how about we stick to work? Opposition would be in red. Why are we still there then? Pointing to the red dots in the center of the white group. That's my doing. A hunter from Special Ops said he had something technological covering half his head, including an ear and eye. He had multiple tablets attached to an arm and was typing on them. He all got me the sensor field frequency once we were on board, and I bounced into it, figuring out how it worked, and spoke to the other systems. When we opened up the passage, I started having it tell everyone we were heading in a different direction. Made sure not to cross with any of the cross them with people, and they've been shadowing those. Why aren't they just attacking? Someone asked. They don't have to hurry, do they? Someone answered, so long as they prevent us from heading back to the shuttle, they can take as long as they want. And considering what we did to the last pack we encountered, the rest might not be the ones who want to take us on. Poof. I might prefer to let someone else take us on. How sure can you be the prisoners are there? The beta asked. Can't be certain, the hunter answered, but short of them being dead, they'd show up on sensor if they were anywhere else. How accurate is the data? Thur asked, studying the projection. I'm not changing anything other than our location, the male said. Everything else is real time, the hunter at the board said. Added. They're going to know the information this provides They're going to know this information provide them is wrong the instant we have to fight one of the packs patrolling those corridors. He indicated the moving dots around the black area. Do you have enough information to give us a path that limits the chances we'll cross them? I'm going to need a lot more time. A lot more time to get this to tell me anything in its past. It doesn't like giving up anything. Yeah. It doesn't like talking to me. I only work with the information I gained since Yold gave me access, the male said, and I haven't been here. We haven't been here that long. We removed the sensors, the special op beta said, and we don't have they don't have a way to work out where we are. Thanks for the lack of confidence, Beta, the male said without anger. But it tells them where we are. Third countered. Where we were, the Beta said. I'm not saying we blind them now. My hunters can make that happen once we've left. Oh, that's something else I need to account for. I take it back, the male said. You do have confidence in me. Jim agreed with Thurb more as he listened to the special ops hunters. He enjoyed camaraderie, but the tone didn't seem to carry the respect toward their Beta and each other Jimmy thought was required of a pack to work together well. How likely is it we'll be on a different path when they head here? Thur asked. I can't do anything once the sensors aren't working, the male said. Does it matter? The other Beta asked. We'll be closer to the target and they aren't going to be expecting it. She makes a good point, the Special Ops Beta said. Anything toward the target is an improvement. Agreed, Thur said. Get ready to move. Grisneer, make sure they can't leave that room. They fell on the Earthers before they had time to react and dispatched them before they could respond. A call for help had gone out, but they were on the move already. The next fight proved harder due to the increased people and them being on alert for an attack. By the time the fight was done, they had a death, 3 incapacitated hunter, and 2 with injuries grave enough another fight would be deadly. They split the remaining hunters into 2 groups. Third, Trolls and Grisneer were the ones with Jeremy's pack. The one from Jeremy's pack who continued with him, while Skeram Yatirin stayed behind with the others to watch over the injured. With the smaller group, the Hunter, Yularin, Rogrotref, Carifter, short-range scanner, they avoided all but the fight as they reached the blacked out section. Fortunately, that group was also low in numbers, letting them win without serious injuries. So they are 1, 2, 3, 4 with Jeremy, 5. So at this point, I've got 5 of them there. To the Hunter, okay, the Yarik is there, so that's 6. Hunter Yarika de Remy Ashte Reptar overrode the lock, and they entered a medical bay with pods after pods containing people who seemed to be sleeping. To every species other than Earthers that Jeremy knew of or represented, each had it attached to their head. No one's moving in this. No one's moving in this room or the next. The ones on each side. Hunter Yolarimal Rogrotaf Karifter said, but more like these. How many in total? In total, within my range, 63. Just about every species is represented. Earthers? Jeremy asked. Nope, none of them. What are you thinking? Thur asked. Shows that this is something directed at the Federation, so I'm wondering why I was the target of those pirates at the dock. And, okay, let's see. Okay, I don't go back to the pod, so I am going to make my alterations here. People who seem to be speaking. Sleeping but displays told. They were in suspending animation. Da, 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 da. Every species that he knew of is represented. So, no one's moving. Maybe they just saw an opportunity, one of the hunters asked. Would Earthers think of selling someone who looks like them? If there's money in there, Earthers will do anything. Hunter Yerika Dirimi Ush Tiriptar said. What? That's rather specific knowledge to have on a species we only have Jeremy as a reference, Krishna said. You watch enough Earther ballads and you pick up stuff. How can you stand them? I tried and nothing happens for nearly all of it. I just put one while I code. It's a couple of hours of something in my periphery I don't have to entirely focus on, except for the interesting parts. Jimmy chuckled. Movies as background noise. Not something I'd ever think of doing with them. His humor died as he walked among the unconscious. Unconscious. Well, unconscious. I don't know if unconscious works. He found a screen with readings on it. Okay. Okay. That's what I missed. You know what? Actually, I don't need that because this was just to establish. Um, Zoomer died as he walked among the unconscious people. That's enough. Why would they collect people from the Federation? Someone asked. Data collection is the only thing I can think of, another answered. I will have to name people when I do the second draft. I remember being tired and not wanting to look up names. Do you think the thing attached to their heads acts as their brains? Actually, you know what? There we go. Do you think the thing attached to their head, their heads acts as their brains? That's fiction. No, Thor said the Earthers have that kind of tech. They used it on Jer. This? This wasn't. It wasn't like this, Jer said. They put me in a chair, bulky thing over my head. I don't know how they made me see what I saw or programmed the fear and hate. That's kind of the components under. Oh, okay. Yeah. This is this. Yeah, this is. The skin of the components under Yerik Derimi Arshteriptar said indicate they use a form of electromagnetic broadcast to insert the information, but we haven't been able to recreate most of the components used. So we, okay. I thought the Federation had forbidden access to that information, Thirst said. Okay, I need to make a quick change. Because yeah, this is, you know, this is not something. Convinced. Um, bu- 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 Takes me back here. I just need to add something. You pointed out. Okay. Because I wanted as much information as possible to keep to keep Hunter Jeremy Bradshaw safe. I wasn't a hunter then, he pointed out. He pointed out, and it's gonna be, and questioned what she said. Recreating technology required more than a peek at reports. You are one of us, one of the crew, one of our people. We keep you safe, and to do that, we need to get whatever we will we will get whatever we need. Do what we have to. And it's not just you because of who your heart is. We will go this far for any one of our people. You're simply the first to find himself in something this odd. The few times I've had to hack Federation. Um okay, that's another part. Um the few times I've had to do Federation stations. A few times before I've had to do work on Federation Station was part of getting blackmailers to stop targeting one of the civilians on the ship. Thur was looking at him, but shook his head before Jeremy could ask what that was about. Let's proceed. Jeremy? And Earther asked, standing in the open doorway. Jeremy stared. The incongruity of seeing that male here, realizing who he was take longer than it should have. Omar? And that concludes chapter 35 of The Technician's Fight. If you are enjoying this, please leave a like. If you want to know when the next chapter will be up, subscribe and hit the bell. If you want to read this story, it is up on Ream Story. And if you are looking to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch and YouTube. Links are in the notes, and with that, I shall wish you a good day.